Good morning. It's May, what is it, 7th, I guess. And it's a Friday, so it's walk around the lake day. Don't have to think about these days, I just do it. Do it. It's 5 degrees, a little chilly at the moment. I'm just wearing my sweater, but I'll warm up as I walk. Another beautiful morning. We have a faint haze in the sky, but not much. So this is the night that Regina Lake Musical Theatre's online concert, Flip the Script, Broadway in Reverse, begins. There's tonight, tomorrow, and Sunday afternoon. You can watch it. You can still get tickets. You can't get the meal from the German Club, at least not for tonight and tomorrow night. I'm not sure about Sunday. But if you're not in Regina, that won't matter to you anyway. $25. You'll get a link to watch the show. We're watching it tonight and tomorrow night, although we're getting the meal tomorrow night, not tonight, because Alice is working. So this is gender-swapped Broadway music. And as I've said before, I'm doing a quartet, all 4 parts, in costume, kind of. And my wife and I do a duet, where she takes the part that's usually sung by the man, and I sing the woman's part, and Alice is doing a solo, normally sung by a man. Looking forward to seeing it. We did it for ours in front of a green screen, mainly because of my quartet, and because I have to assemble me into a quartet, all 4 recordings. And since we had it, we all did it, so I don't actually know what our backgrounds will look like, or anything like that, so it'll be interesting to see. The sound will be iffy everywhere because the original plan was to record it all in a church, but with increased restrictions due to increased case numbers here, or I should say positive test results, here they decided to best if everybody just recorded it in their own home. And of course that means sound will be interesting, although the intention was to put a bed of the accompaniment over top of whatever was recorded so you get a better balance. So we weren't supposed to have the sound so loud that it was very, overpowering on our recordings. Anyway, I'm sure it was a lot of work to edit and put together, so I'll be very interested to see what it looks like, and you would be too if you bought a ticket for $25 at reginalyric.com through Eventbrite, who's handling the tickets. So around the lake today, we'll be going under the underpass. The geese are excited. Got a new cotton ball on the microphone that definitely made a difference. I checked yesterday's sound. The sound's not great though, no matter what I do. With the microphone on the opposite side of the camera from me, I think. That doesn't help. So I probably will at some point get an external mic. I could use it for other things. It wouldn't just be for this, but having it for this would be nice. Hope we don't get any buffering issues today. Watched a bit of a recent one from Walking Commuter, the guy in Manhattan who inspired this, and he was worried about his buffering issues, especially in Central Park, which is where he was headed. So it's good to know I'm not alone, I guess. Even in Manhattan you can't find a good strong signal sometimes. There's the Albert Street Bridge. And again, if you are watching this live on Facebook or on YouTube, please leave a comment. If you're on Facebook, reassure me that there's sound, because there hasn't been every time. There was yesterday. Hopefully there is today. This makes it much easier to get across the Albert Street now that this is open. They still got the stupid one-way signs around the lake. Never did a thing to protect anybody from anything. Just to make you think that they're doing something. As far as I'm concerned. Tell us what you really think, Ed. There's a breeze, so I guess this is a test of how much that cotton ball helps reduce wind noise. The lake is pretty choppy by Wascana Lake standards. Oh, we'll have to walk down over on the far side. I see they have the aeration fountain going. We'll have to walk down around that, hopefully without getting wet. It's probably blowing spray all over the place. I might be able to see it. I think I can zoom. To try that. Let's try that. Can I zoom in while watching this? No, I can't. Interesting. I saw him do it on Walking Commuter. He uses Prism as well. So I wonder why he was able to do it. Well, if I were using the full function of the gimbal through the app that it comes with. Who is that? Hello, Miriam. Yes, walking around Wascana Lake today. A little cool at the moment. Probably noisy because the wind's blowing in my face. It's 5 degrees. So the wind chill is noticeable. Right now, it feels like I should have worn my jacket, but as I continue to walk. Just motion smoother, but not it's not the full ability. You know, there's the lake, Saskatchewan Legislative Building. That taller building over to the left is an apartment building. It's quite choppy. You can see the wind's blowing. Unnecessarily long way to do that, but I wanted to stay close to the water. Catching up with this guy here pretty soon. Right now, even with the wind suck. So again, looking straight ahead is where Excalibur ends up. The end of my Shards of Excalibur series, just this side of that island. If you want to come look for it. Take the shortcut. rapids, it's dry. It's called Wascana Lake, W-A-S-C-A-N-A, which actually comes from a Cree word, Wascana, and it's related to the historic name of the community, the place where the bones are piled. Now there's my unstable internet connection. So Regina is sometimes known as Pile of Bones, or was. It's buffalo bones piled up here during buffalo hunting days. Hope YouTube hangs on. Sometimes the feed fails when I get a bad connection. Usually I get a message if that happens. I didn't get a message, so I hope YouTube is still there. If you're still there, Miriam, let me know. So again, over there is where Excalibur ends up after the end of the 5th book in my series. Hello there. Getting the same unstable connection warning. Follow the path this time. Maybe I'll get a stronger connection in a minute. CBC Regina over there, Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. Well, the unstable internet connection warning went away, so hopefully I'm still connected to YouTube. If anybody's on Facebook, let me know, just so I know that there's sound. Facebook's been having sound problems sometimes. Again, this all gets posted later as a recording. Is what I leave up on the YouTube site. I take down the live stream and replace it with the recording. I'll just quit commenting on the unstable connection sign because there's nothing I can do about it. There it is. So as I've often mentioned, right here is where Shards of Excalibur kicks off in the lake here. Lady of the Lake shows up in that patch of water. And my character, Ariane Forsyth, hears singing and goes down this watery staircase into the water and meets the Lady of the Lake, who's taken the form of a woman made out of water, so it's not an actual living person. More of an avatar. And she and Wally Knight, who's a younger boy who just happens to be biking around the lake at that time and sees this, end up getting this quest to find the scattered shards of Excalibur before Merlin can. He's the bad guy in the book, and he wants the sword basically so he can take over the world and then launch an invasion back into his own realm of fairy, where he has been exiled from for many, many years. And so their quest takes them all over the world in 5 books. It's a lot of fun to write. I'm told it's a lot of fun to read. Unstable connection. It's so annoying, and it didn't happen when I first started doing this. I don't know what's changed. I suspect I'm losing YouTube, or have already. But I could be wrong. So Miriam, if you're still there, and you hear this, another note would be good to let me know that YouTube is still up. Again, I can't do anything about it, so If it fails, it fails. And anybody on Facebook, let me know if it's working. It'll be a good recording no matter what happens to the live stream. There's this end of Willow Island. Usually see too many people out on Friday morning. I was out here on the weekend last week just to park up here and walk to the university, and there were a lot of people around. I'm getting unstable internet connection signal way more than I have on any other walk. So I don't know if this is live streaming at all or not. But if you're watching the recording, that doesn't matter. There's the ledge over there, Saskatchewan Legislative Building. Nicely lit up by the morning sun. The bridge, that long white line over there, Albert Street Bridge. The trees are working on letting out. Some species more than others. Oh, there's someone. Hi, first time here. Is that coffee or Kofi? Probably coffee with 2 F's. Welcome. I'm probably getting a lot of buffering on this one, but I'm glad to know that the YouTube feed hasn't failed yet. I keep getting an unstable internet connection warning. So walking around Wascana Lake here in Regina, Saskatchewan. It's an artificial lake. None of these trees grew here naturally. Every single one was planted at some point. Possibly some willows right down by the shore might have grown up on their own. But in general, everything was planted. Oh, there's some green coming out on those. And the lake was formed by a dam over under the Albert Street Bridge over there. It's been here a long time. We've got a postcard in our basement because my wife's grandfather lived here in the 1910, 1912 range. There's a postcard of the lake down there. It's been deepened a couple of times. Most recently in 2005, I think, they completely drained it and deepened it to give it longer life because it's silting up because it's a dam. A lot of silt flows into it and it doesn't flow out. So yeah, we won't walk around the pond because I don't know which way the spray's blowing from the fountain over there. So we'll go up to the footbridge and over. Again, Saskatchewan Legislature over there. And over here, this hasn't been running on my previous walks. And it's an aeration fountain, so it puts oxygen into the water for the fish. One of the reasons they deepened it was to make it deep enough that fish could overwinter in it and don't freeze, because otherwise the lake freezes to the bottom. Back that way, there's the downtown back there. always have to watch my feet when I'm doing this because I've got this in my hand and I'm looking at the screen and past it, not at my feet, and sometimes I miss sudden dips and things like that. Oh, look, baby geese. I knew they'd be coming. There they are. Yeah, Mama wants me to keep moving. They grow up so fast, it won't be long before they're gangly teenage geese. And by the time you get to the fall, which is not long far away, they'll be ready to fly south. They eat a lot of grass. They poop a lot of poop. One of the hazards of walking in the grass in Wascana Park. And the paths, they are no respecter of locations. When it comes to that, this is where the Regina Rowing Club hangs out, over here to my left. And up straight ahead is Bar Willow, which is a restaurant. It's a nice deck that overlooks the lake, so it's a very nice place to go for special events, if the weather's nice and the mosquitoes aren't too bad and the wasps aren't too bad. Last time I walked around Pine Island over there, I might do it again today. It will have a waterfall going at this end later on, also for aeration of the lake. That concrete abutment is over there. There's Bar Willow. It's been a number of different restaurants over the years. That's what it's currently called. It was called the Willow on Wascana, and they changed it. Just gave it a new name, same people, I think. Oh, there's a dragon boat. For practicing, I would think. I don't think we're here the last time I came by. But when we have the dragon boat races in Regina, that all happens down here. We'll cut across the grass. As we can. Just can't do too much because of the boats up there. Key or whatever we call it. There's Bar Willow, the restaurant. Getting unstable internet connection. I've had that more often than not on this walk, so I was actually surprised when somebody popped in from YouTube. I'm glad to know it's still up, as far as I know. Even though I don't know what it looks like with the unstable connection. Probably a lot of stops and starts. Haven't had anybody from Facebook. If you're on Facebook, drop me a note and let me know if there's sound. If you're on Facebook. Facebook's been having trouble with sound. Trouble at their end. Again, I have no control over any of this. So on Saturday I parked here, walked over by the Connexus Art Center, the big theater over there, and went on along the lake on that side of Broad Street and walked all the way down to the University of Regina, where I got myself kind of trapped in the, I'd call it the quad, they call it the academic green, because all the buildings were locked up. So I could go out the way I came in, but I didn't want that. So I sort of wandered around like a rat in a maze until I found a stairway that took me up and out. All the buildings are joined together for getting around in the winter. Tunnels and connectors and things, and that was all locked, so there was no way between them. Yes, it is lovely. Coffee. It'll be prettier once the leaves finish coming up. And it's very pretty in the fall when the leaves start changing too. And it's pretty in the winter when it's frozen and surrounded by water, by snow. It's actually the largest, I believe it's the largest urban park in North America. You take in the whole lake onto my left and green space. I think in area it's actually really nice park, for example, but not as famous. And of course it's not surrounded by skyscrapers and millionaires and all the stuff that surrounds Central Park. A couple of gulls down there. It's about 5 kilometers around the path from my house and back. And it's very popular with joggers and cyclists and all that. That fence says construction site, but I don't know for what. Authorized personnel only. Goes on for ways. What are they putting on this corner? Is it an actual building or something else? I have no idea. That puzzles me. This fence goes on and on and on. I don't think it was there the last time I came along here last Friday either, so I don't know what that's in aid of. It's too big. Covers too big an area to just be. And if they're putting a building there, I would have heard about it because there'd be people protesting. It must be something to do with landscaping or something. And the ledge is always visible. It's a bit like Mount Fuji, you know, those 22 views of Mount Fuji you like to do in Japan, that sort of thing. From different directions. Perhaps not quite as big or famous as Mount Fuji. Not quite. If it's a water line or something going in there. I don't know, it goes on and on, this fence. I'm sure it wasn't there last week. We'll go out onto Pine Island again this week. There's the unstable internet connection again. Oh dear. Maybe I should look at my cell phone contract and see if there's something I can do there. That's Pine Island. It was created when they drained the lake in 2005, and then all those pines were planted there. So, you know, that's 15, 16 years. You'd think it had been there forever, but no. I don't think it was there before. If it was, it wasn't like this. But I don't think there was an island here before the big dig. This time I'll walk right first, because last time I went straight ahead first. Lots of birds hang out over here. Pigeons up there, always geese, ducks. There's a duck in the middle of the path. You don't get a lot of foot traffic over here. There's a building back over my left shoulder. We'll see it again in a minute. That was used for the, was it Western Canada Summer Games or the Canada Summer Games? When they did rowing events. That was a timer. Now, I had to walk down that slope or I go back and get the stairs. But here's a nice panorama with the duck standing sentry there of Wascana Lake from a little higher up. I will see if I can descend this slope. Doesn't look too steep, so it should be all right. Carefully, since I don't have a hand to catch myself if I tumble. And as I said before, I'm on Facebook Live and I don't want to turn it into Faceplant Live. And I'm not on Tumblr at all, so yeah, nobody's bothering you. Okay, the geese. So later, I don't know how much later, there'll be a waterfall right here that you can walk under. And we'll go back to the footbridge and back over onto the proper walkway. This will give us a good view of the building there that they use when there are events on the lake, rowing events and that sort of thing. Mostly rowing events. I don't know that they do much. I don't think they've had any sailing races on the lake. It's a little small. But certainly they do rowing, kayaks and canoes. And the dragon boat race that I mentioned earlier. As I said, lots of birds over here. And they think the island is theirs. They don't get much foot traffic over here. Because there's nowhere to go. You just walk around the island like I just did. And then back again. Okay, back on the footpath proper, bike path too. If anybody's still with me, there was more unstable internet there, so I don't know if the feed is still up or not. Haven't had anything from Facebook this morning. Sometimes Facebook loses its sound. There's downtown over there. This is the Surveyor's Monument here. I wrote a book about Saskatchewan Land Surveyors Association. I did their history book a few years ago. After doing the Association of Professional Engineers and Geoscientists of Saskatchewan history book. And then later I did the Saskatchewan Mining Association history book. And I did another book for them about their mine rescue competition. So, got quite a bit of work there for a while doing that sort of thing. Nothing recently. Unstable internet again. And again. told you it was a bike path. Maybe I should do some research. Maybe there's something I can do. Maybe I need a new iPhone, but that's not happening. It's really staying unstable for a long time, which does not bode well for the YouTube feed. And possibly the Facebook one too. But nothing I can do except keep saying I'm not going to mention it again and then mention it again, which is what I keep doing. Well, the warning went away. Anybody still there? Let me know. Unless you're watching the recording, then don't bother. You can always leave a like or a comment on the recording. I can't respond live. Oh, Miriam, you're still there. Good. That means my feed has not failed. Probably very buffery though. Stops and starts. Never talk very much when I'm right behind somebody because they'll be able to hear me. I already look odd enough with this in my hand. Although, as I've said before, it's with Bluetooth headsets and ear pods that are practically invisible, people talking to themselves as they walk down the street is no longer immediately taken as a sign of insanity. I usually just figure they're on the phone. Which I am, kind of. Over there is Goose Island, that one's called, I believe. Is that right? Anyway, that one is left undisturbed. Doesn't have any facilities or anything on it. Just for wildlife habitat. Green slowly popping out. Walking commuter was walking in Central Park, as I said, and they have flowers and trees aren't at their full leafiness, but pretty close. Not here, not yet. Sounds coming from the maintenance facility over there. Various pieces of equipment for looking after the center. There's a large Ukrainian population in Saskatchewan, and the little statue, little girl over here, it's a memorial to the victims of Stalin's genocide of Ukrainians through famine. Good old Soviet Union, that's something people seem to be willing to give a pass to. Just one of the atrocities committed in the name of communism. And that's what this represents here. It's a little emaciated child. It's a very nice little memorial. At the Lakeview or Lakeshore? Lakeview, I think. Tennis club. Oops, Lakeshore. Saw the sign over there. Been around for a long time. There's a lot of benches, as you can see. By the lake if you want. You can see the fountain over there on the other shore. Green popping out on that one. Still unstable, says my warning message. Again, unstable. What's really annoying is that the first few times I did this, nothing like that. I wonder if it's related to the weather. In fact, you get there's the fountain and footbridge I walked over there on the other side. I wonder if it's got something to do with like increased humidity or something like that. Oh, that's noisy. Mobile graffiti unit tries to keep ahead of the graffiti, the vandals, the ignorant savages who deface things. I have no patience for graffiti people. Graffitiists. Graffitiists. There's a good one. Graffiti idiots. Graffitiists. See downtown over there. We'll walk, instead of staying on the lakeshore, I'm going to walk down by the ledge. Last time I came this way, I met a MLA I know, member of the Legislative Assembly, on the front steps, which was kind of funny. If there's nobody there, I'll climb up the front steps just to give you a view. There we go, Saskatchewan Legislative Building. Walked by many times. Over 100 years old now. A couple of years ago, they redid the copper dome. Well, all the structure underneath it had to be worked on. It was a massive undertaking. But they resheathed it in new copper. So for a couple of, well, for 1 year anyway, it was bright copper. Part of 1 year. And eventually it oxidized and turned black. Unlike in Ottawa, where the copper on the roofs turns green, here, due to the different climate, it turns that rather pleasant shade of not quite pitch black. I guess it's a very dark greeny black probably. But that's the color everybody in Saskatchewan associates with the dome of the legislature. And the flag's flying up there. The Saskatchewan flag is the green and yellow one. And the Canadian flag in the middle, and then the Union Jack on the right, since we're part of the Commonwealth. Which is why I met the Queen over there, also in 2000. Maybe the big dig was earlier, because I think she was here in 2005 and it was over by then. That was for the centennial of the province. It was a royal visit. And as I've said before, over there by the statue of her that was unveiled on that trip, astride her favorite horse, Burmese, who was a Canadian horse. Alice had flowers. It was pouring rain, but we waited, and she came by and took the flowers from Alice, and I got a really nice close-up picture of her as she took the flowers, like, 4 feet in front of me, 3 feet. Didn't get a picture of the two of them together, but here we go. 1908, 1911 is when it was being built. So it says on the cornerstone there. Cornerstone laid on October 4th, 1909. Oh, and Their Majesties King George VI and Queen Elizabeth visited this building on May 25th, 1939. And there's the view. So down over the gardens, you can see the statue of the Queen. So we were standing sort of past where that sign on the left is when we met her. And downtown Regina past that. And now we'll head that way. It'll be much prettier before long once the flowers start growing in those beds. So, keep coming back and I'll keep working on the lake every Friday and you'll see all the changing seasons. MLA parking, you can see on the little tag on this window there. Here to get to the statue. Nice setting before it. You can see they've prepared the flower beds. There's a goose growing over there, but that's not a flower. And this is the little, talks about it being unveiled. It commemorates her Golden Jubilee. Burmese was born and raised at Fort Walsh, Saskatchewan. It was presented to Her Majesty by the Royal Canadian Mounted Police in 1969. The Queen rode Burmese at the annual Trooping of the Colour until 1987. And the sculptor is Susan Velder of St. Walburg, Saskatchewan. May 18th, 2005, we were standing right over here with flowers, and she came by and she reversed her course. Somebody said it was the Premier, Lauren Calvert, who pointed out she'd gone by Alice without taking her flowers. She turned around and came back to get them, which was very nice. So I got that picture of her and then a picture of Alice with the flowers. So they were taken at the same time, they just weren't, no way to get them both in the frame. And that was my, last time I had a photo on the front page of the Weyburn Review, the newspaper I used to work for, because I sent it down there. Because my mom was still living there, so it was like, granddaughter of local woman gives flowers to the Queen. In a newspaper in a town the size of Weyburn, population 10,000, that was news. This is Walter Scott, who was the Premier when this was built, so he's holding up plans. If you get in the right place behind him, you can see the dome of the legislature matching that drawing he's holding. Now we'll get back on the path. Almost home now. Just a short distance on, around, and under. Good view of the bridge. Flags on the bridge change on a regular basis. I don't know how they decide. Currently it's all Saskatchewan flags. The other day there were, I think they were French or Dutch flags flying. No, they weren't either. They were something else. They weren't tricolor, they were just red and white. Austria maybe, but I don't know why. All Saskatchewan now. Oh, thanks, Miriam. I'm glad the stream has stayed up. Back at the lake again. So this is the dam that forms the lake. That's all there is to it. So the bridge is way longer than the dam is. I suppose the dike it's built on. There's all this earth is part of the dam too, probably, I guess. That's where the spillway is. And then it goes down and into the creek that I walk along many times. Getting back into the wind here. It's not exactly surf, but it does churn up foam on the water, which is piled up here. There are sort of white caps on the water, if you look. Have any comments from Facebook, so I don't know if there was sound today or not. If you happen to be on Facebook and you can hear me, let me know. Not much time left before I'm home. This is usually about an hour walk. Depends on how much I dawdle and exactly what path I take. Walking around Pine Island adds a few minutes, would otherwise make it shorter. All right, back to the underpass. Funny thing is, I don't get an unstable internet connection when I'm down here. You'd think I would. Speaking of graffiti that I have no patience for, they're constantly repainting this. So this is Friday. Now I have to decide what I'm going to do for my weekend walks. I'm thinking I might go a little further afield again like I did last week when I walked out to the university. I could go back to the university. I didn't walk down one whole side of it. But I did lose my feed on the walkway by the lake over there. So that's concerning from a live streaming point of view. Not from a recording point of view. But if I went back, I'd probably take a different path so I didn't show the same stuff. I'd park a little closer to so walk somewhere else a little different. That's a possibility anyway. So as you can see, since I'm about 2 blocks from my house, we live very close to Wascana Center, which is nice. Our house was built in 1926, and my wife's grandparents bought it in 1939, and it's been in the house in the family ever since. We did extensive renovations a couple of years ago, replaced the old plaster with drywall, that kind of thing, new wiring, and we're hoping to build a small addition on the back. So we have a downstairs bathroom and a deck. That's kind of the plan for later this summer. We're supposed to get the drawings for it, the engineering drawings for it, the final ones, today. And then we can move forward. But with it already being May, I imagine we'll get it built just about in time for the first snow and not really get to enjoy it this year. We would have put a hot tub out there too, but that's definitely not happening this year. The backyard is quite nice as it is, but Margaret and his grandfather built a huge concrete deck, not really a deck, more of a porch on the back, and it's actually sunk and is kind of dragged down the back of the house a little bit. So that's one reason we want to get rid of that. That would have been many decades ago now, probably in the 50s, maybe the 60s, probably the 50s. But there is a kind of a concrete pad out there that's not elevated. But at least we can put patio furniture on it, which we have some really old stuff. That also goes back to Margaret and his grandparents. But it has an umbrella. And we have a couple of somewhat more modern plastic lawn chairs, so we can sit out there in the heat when it's nice. And I can work out there even some. The Wi-Fi reaches out there, so depending on the light and the weather and the temperature, it can be a nice place to work. Nice change from inside where I've been stuck so much of this year. Normally I like to write in a coffee shop or a pub or somewhere, get out of the house. I find I concentrate better there than I do at home, oddly enough. But I've been stuck at home. But The Tangled Stars, my next novel, which I've been struggling with, I think I've broken the logjam and I expect to get quite a lot of that done today, big chunk, and hopefully carrying on with that. I'd like to submit it sort of the end of May. It's not coming out till 2022, but it still needs to be done and gotten in to the publisher. It has a talking cat in it. I mean, it's going to be a huge seller. Just put the cat on the cover. That'll sell books right there. Maybe our cat could be the model, Shadowpaw. Okay, well, just close to our house, so thank you for watching live, if you did, and thanks for watching the recording, if that's what you watched, and I'll be back tomorrow. Bye for now.